If you're involved in any way within the Bleach community, you should know at least one of these two absolutes. Really, you should know both, but one is the minimum. The first is that Yoruichi is the undisputed queen of Bleach waifus, and no negative word shall ever be spoken about her. And the second is that God of Thunder is quite literally one of the most anticipated moments in the Bleach manga waiting to be animated. And I realize I've never really given you guys an in-depth look into my perspective on that form, and so that is what I will do for you guys today. Yoruichi's God of Thunder technique is a great ability, but not for the reasons you might think. Let's talk about it. Before we begin, as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you find this video entertaining. During the final assaults by the Shinigami on Yhwach's newly formed Warveld, Yoruichi engages in battle against Stern Ritter D, the death-dealing Askin Naklavar, and during this encounter, she showcases a greater mastery of her Shunko technique, busting out a new form called Raijin Senkei. It's a powerful new form of Shunko that sees Yoruichi cloud her hands in lightning energy, create a spherical pattern before launching a devastating surge of lightning towards her opponent. Yoruichi knocks down Askin for the moment and turns her attention to her younger brother Yushiro, who offers some playful banter, showing us a side of Yoruichi that we fans always love to see. After a while, Askin recovers, withstands Yushiro's blows, and Yoruichi is forced to fight him again. Only this time, due to his powers of the death dealing, he grows immune to Yoruichi's Ryotsu and turns the tide of the battle. To be quite honest, Yoruichi is in a lot of trouble by this point in the battle, and Askin was sure to defeat her if this continued to be a one-on-one contest. But help arrives in the form of one Kisuke Urahara, who gives her an immunity booster that allows her to move for about 5 minutes. It's around this time that Kubo gives us the legendary title card that will forever live on in the annals of history. I want to show it to you guys, but I can't. We're on YouTube, and I'm not trying to get demonetized, but you guys know what I'm talking about. You know what it is. Yoruichi enters the Raijin Senkei state again, but before she launches, Kisuke grabs hold of her and wants to do what he calls, in quotes, the you-know. Yoruichi immediately shoots down the idea, stating that she doesn't want to succumb to that half-assed form again. She engages in battle with Askin, but she's not at 100%, and so she quite obviously loses. He punches her right in the gut and Yoruichi falls to her knees. As she's on her knees, she sees Kisuke sitting in the distance with a poster of some kind. The poster reads, "Once I flip this page, you'll be transformed." Before Yoruichi can even react, Kisuke peels it off and she's engulfed in a massive pillar of lightning Ryotsu. Askin cannot believe what he's seeing as he lays his eyes on a transformed Yoruichi, with her clothes all gone, her entire body covered in fierce lightning, along with a long black tail. This form is called Shunko Raiju Senkei Shunryu Kokobyo Senki, which translates to Grand Flash Black Cat War Princess. Now get this, in this state, Yoruichi can no longer understand human language. She launches to Askin, creating streaks of lightning in the air and pummels him with tremendous ferocity. Askin gets launched across the cityscape and does not understand why Yoruichi's attacks are working. You see, in order to understand how bonkers this God of Thunder form is, I have to give you some context on Askin's abilities. Askin's ability is called the Death Dealing, and it essentially allows him to control the lethal dose of every substance he's hit with. You can think of the lethal dose as the amount of a substance required to kill a person. By altering and controlling the lethal dose of his opponent's Ryotsu, he's essentially able to make himself immune to their abilities, gaining the upper hand. He already activated his lethal dose earlier in the battle, and so Yoruichi's attacks should not be hurting him, but they are, and he doesn't know why. Kisuke, who's the stand-in for Yoruichi, comes in to give Askin an explanation. This new form of Yoruichi sees her really tap into her feline instincts, and the mood personalities of a cat are magnified and taken onto a whole new level. Her mood actively influences her Ryotsu nature. Kisuke explains this by talking about how the flu, or influenza, is an infection that spreads every year because the virus essentially alters its genetic makeup ever so slightly to become infectious. That, in essence, is what Yoruichi is doing. Her mood is quite literally changing her Ryotsu 48 times per second. That speed is way beyond anything Askin could have possibly imagined, and he gets absolutely throttled by a fierce lightning attack that pierces even the skies. It's incredibly devastating. Yoruichi seemingly takes out Askin, and we find that in this form, The only one who can really rein her in is Kisuke, and at this point, the battle goes off to Kisuke versus Asking and so on. But let's track back and talk about this Kokyobu Senki form of hers. I know we all love it for the power boost, the look, the abilities, the speed, and it's all great. But if these attacks and forms are not in service of the character, it ultimately falls flat on its face. This form needs to matter to Yoruichi the character, and in this instance, it does. Over here on the Kubology side of things, we care about the details. Yoruichi Shihouin as a character in Bleach represents freedom. She's one who wishes to be free from the shackles of society. She does not want her fate to be dictated by anyone else but her, and she wishes to do what she wants, how she wants it, and when she wants it. In every sense of the word, Yoruichi wants to be free. She wants the freedom to be uninhibited, unchained, and unbound. Looking at what exists as the peak of Yoruichi's abilities, Kubo chooses a form whose entire premise is changing reality 48 times per second. Kubo gives her a form that strips her of all clothing and gives her a form that sees her pummeling Askin during one moment and in the next moment not caring about him, sitting on top of a building just licking her hand. This form is essentially Kubo telling Yoruichi, you can do whatever you want, however you want it, and whenever you want to. You are not bound by anyone or anything. Do as you please. And when you start to think about her as a character, this form takes on a whole new meaning. Hers is a character born into a largely patriarchal society. I say this because there aren't a lot of female clan heads in Bleach, and the Shihouin clan has been around for about 22 generations before getting a female leader. The high level of expectation, responsibility, and unwanted attention probably pushed Yoruichi to her limit. When we first see her when she's younger, she has the look of a person who is being forced by customs to do something she doesn't want to do, as she's being prepared for a large role in society. We see her with Kisuke, and when she's with him, she's happy, a stark difference from how she is when she's with her clansfolk. Her expression is devoid of any joy and happiness, and it gets to a point where she defects and leaves everything behind, becoming a criminal with Kisuke Urahara. And once she breaks out of her proverbial cage, you start to see who she really is. Yoruichi mocks Ichigo for adhering to the societal rules that say she can't be naked. She mocks the very idea that she has to wear clothes, and she specifically chooses to sound like a male in cat form just to confuse people who would assume that a male cat would be a male person as well. For the longest time in Bleach, Yoruichi has been laughing in the face of the boundaries that society sets for her. She refuses to be the clan heir who has to act one way or another. She refuses to be forced to wear clothes because it's indecent otherwise. She refuses to be bound by logic that dictates that she has to be a female cat. And her Kokyobu Senki form is just Kubo magnifying who she is on the inside and amplifying it. He takes her clothes away, he takes her speech away, and has her become a being whose only shackle is to her whims. For better or worse, Yoruichi's greatest form, the God of Thunder, the Kokyobu Senki, is an amazing form for what she can do, but an even more amazing spectacle for what she represents. She represents true freedom, like no one else in Bleach does. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is your boy Rebirth. Until the next video, peace out.